right, and we're live. So, welcome to Top Chem Pay Committee meeting. As you know, Sam Verde has asked me to lead this committee. Although I worked hard on the initial pay plan, I realized that no plan will be successful without support from the employees. I want to get your input so that we can create a plan that will be best for everyone. So we need to brainstorm ideas for a better pay plan. So what do you guys think? I know Sid, you don't like our plan. So what do you think?
No, I don't. I want to get rid of the teams. For me, with the scientists and being head of R&D, I really liked Michael Beer's ideas where there shouldn't be an overall system that makes everybody do the same plan. If my scientists want to just have the straight pay and no comp, I think they should go for it. I'm tired of them being high school chemistry teachers all the time instead of doing their jobs. They can't develop new products because they have to tell everybody else on the team what they're doing all the time. If we could find a better way to individualize the plan, I would be for it. If we could find a way to maybe include the employers in building the plan, I would be for it. And then I feel like my scientists would have a better say in what they want instead of all this team. That's not helping me and my group.
All right, so you want an individual plan and you want the employees to have some say, and you like Michael Breer's plan. Correct?
Yes.
Well, I disagree with Michael Beer's plan because, and I'm Gus, by the way.
You're fine.
Because let me read this part again that I put. You're saying, because that plan says that pay is usually a distraction and rarely improves teamwork, but I definitely think teamwork is awesome, and that it and that performance should be tied to, or pay should be tied to the performance of the whole company, and that teams should work together and tell each other what they're doing wrong and what they should be changing in order to be better. So I think teamwork is awesome.
So you want more of the pay tied to teams?
Yeah, both to teams and to the overall company performance. Because I think it encourages everybody to excel when you're telling everybody what they're doing wrong so that they can be a better team.
So aren't you worried about the people that choose to not pull their weight?
No, because everybody's going to eventually want to excel if they know that it's going to help them get better pay. And, you know, as long as we all just go out for beers at the end of the day and tell each other what we're doing wrong, then we'll all be able to improve our teams, and then the company as a whole will do better.
So beer drinking at the end of the day is the secret.
Yeah.
And Lisa still abides by the honor code, regardless of who she has to role play. That's brutal. All right.
Well,
what do you think, Ruth?
Well, I believe that teams should be compensated because my team, you know, is working a lot more than the rest. It seems like the rest of them. We're making improvements in everything. We're taking procedures that used to take 3 months. We're getting them done now in 3 weeks. So I believe that the team each team individually should be compensated for the work that they're doing. But I don't think that we should be held accountable for what the rest of the teams aren't doing. You know, we're doing our job, we're getting it done, and we should be compensated for that.
So you are like voting for your team to get more pay, but not be hurt by other teams' performance.
Yeah. Because my team's working well together. We're excelling in everything we're doing.
So would you be willing to reach out to other teams and help?
Well, I mean, we worked weekends for a year to get to the point that we're at. We've worked hard to get here. The other teams just need to focus and work that hard too. I could offer them pointers.
But not a lot of time, so you're not like adding to this company pay plan, really. You'll just give a few pointers.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
maybe Ruth could help with training the other teams to be better. You know what I mean? That could be part of the package if there's better training and understanding for the purpose behind the pay plan.
Right. But Ruth's done. Like, she's exhausted. She's worked weekends for a year. The rest of you need to just step it up. What do you think, Miles?
So my plan doesn't really go along with what Ruth thinks, but I want pay to be tied to what the company does, how well the company performs. And in this plan, it talks about how only 4% of the employees' pay will be tied to overall company performance, and with upper management, about 60% will be tied to overall performance. And so, as the company does better, and as the employees produce more product and help the company to improve, then their pay is going to go up. So I don't think that's a negative thing for the company. But, I can see how Ruth or other team members or other employees would not want to have to carry other groups or other employees that may not be doing their job. But I think this is the best plan. Just because, why not get paid more if the company's doing better? I just think that's a good idea. And looking at Maggie Coyle, and she's the vice president for Motorola, or compensation at Motorola. They introduced a plan where the employees I think it was the employees helped create the compensation plan to meet the needs of the company. So I think that could be a good idea to get the employees involved, get them to help out and give their input on what should be done for compensation.
And so you probably like Maggie's part of the plan as well, where they introduced the gain sharing program so that employees could get kind of a kickback when the company did really well.
Yeah.
Kind of what you were saying a little earlier.
I just think if something can be, kind of, incentive based a little bit, it's not that much of a percentage that is incentive based, but I think it can help to employees to be more motivated.
So you want it a little more individualized, less teams, but more accountability towards how the whole company does as an individual?
Yeah. Because I think it helps everybody in the company to work harder. And I know that there are definitely certain areas that affect the company more. And so if you can get those people that work in those areas, I mean, management is definitely going to help improve the company. So if you get those people to work harder and find different ways to improve their areas, improve the people there over, then the company is going to do better, and more people will get paid more.
Okay, well, I am Bill, and I think we have too many people that won't get on board with either thing. I don't think that everyone's going to go out for beers and help each other out, and I just think we're spending too much time and money training people. Ruth doesn't want to help train. She's got a team that's working, but she doesn't want to help train. I think we need to do a voluntary severance and reduce the workforce. Let's lay people off. People that won't change can just leave.
Wow, you're harsh.
Well, I'm not a beer drinker myself.
You ought to try it. It actually is a wonderful thing.
But if
Come
we
on,
start
everybody's
laying
doing
people
it,
off,
Cindy.
sorry, go ahead.
I just said, come on, everybody's doing it.
It's a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
The peer pressure, I don't know. I think layoffs, lots of people are laying off too. I mean, companies are doing that too. I'm saying voluntary severance. I mean, I'm not giving them nothing.
But as you lay people off, you got to train new people, and that can be expensive for the company.
Yeah, and Ruth's got it working, but she doesn't want to train.
Yeah, that can be a problem.
And one of my problems too is if we do lay off some of these people, are we going to be getting the same quality employees coming into those new positions? Because my scientists are frustrated. They want to leave because they don't feel that they are compensated for their work. If I hire somebody new, I cannot guarantee that he's going to be as good as the guy who's just left.
These scientists sound kind of high drama. Maybe we should
Oh,
lay
we
them
totally
off.
are. We're all about the drama.
I think we should lay them off first. They don't want to be team players. They don't want to be laid
Oh,
off.
we're divas.
Maybe your scientists should look at what Tim O'Brien's doing. You know, he's working with my team now, and he used to be all alone in yours, and he's enjoying seeing what the packaging team does. He likes to see what his work in the chemistry lab was doing.
That's true. I think Sid has a little bit of a disconnect from the people he's talking about, actually.
Yeah.
That's one of my, personally, that's one of my concerns is he talking for himself because he doesn't want to change and this is what's worked in the past? Or, is there that disconnect? He doesn't know what the scientists really want?
Mm-hmm.
He's the old school people Bill are mad about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I think Ruth's a little prideful. She's taking all of what's happening in her department. She thinks it's all her. She's not sharing the.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think Tim was a great asset to her team because he, had the chemical background, and merging that together, I think, is what's helped her team. But I don't think she sees it that way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Gus is on board with the teamwork because obviously the philosophy of the company is going to more team-based, right?
Yeah.
So Gus wants to pay the teams and performance for the company. So it seems like Gus and Miles kind of on the same page, ish. So I don't know if Gus and Miles can get Sid and Ruth on board.
For some beers.
Yeah. Gus and Miles go out, get some beer for everyone, and That should work really well for Alex on BYU Idaho campus.
I have to say too, I really liked what Donald Berwick was saying about he didn't see any intrinsic motivation. All of the motivation that they have in this plan is financial motivation. And we were learning last week about how financial motivation does not work as well.
Yep.
So I think if we can find a way to put in the personal motivation in the plan, I think that that would be a huge step in the right direction.
Yep.
And he also talked about how he didn't like how it was all numbers. He thought that they were good areas that we need to improve in, but who's to say that quality is more important than safety and compliance? And how do you measure which one is the most important? And, you know, if you have those benchmarks, that's great, but having the percentages that go with them can be really frustrating and maybe even detrimental.
I like that point. That's a good point. When you said that, it was making me think about in the church how they always tell you not to focus on numbers, right? Visiting teaching,
Yeah.
home teaching, it's not about numbers, right?
Yeah.
But we improve the areas that we're in. We help improve the lives of people, not
Yeah.
just improve our numbers. All right. So let me look at this real quick. Sorry. I got stuck on the role playing part. Skim the rest. All right, so we need to talk about the pros and cons of each idea and then have a discussion of which employees are going to be happy or unhappy with the options. So we'll just start with the questions and kind of see if we can get to whether or not as a group we agree or disagree with a plan or come up with a plan we do agree with. And I think that our plan would start, just from what we've talked about, that we would start with some kind of intrinsic motivation plan of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, which is better? Guaranteed pay that is the same for all employees based on market rates and or seniority, or incentive pay that is linked to performance? And if you use incentive, how much should be based on performance and how much should be guaranteed?
Sid, I think, would go for just the base pay, no compensation. He doesn't seem to think that the way that the company, the direction the company's going right now, the incentives are not going to work for the scientists.
Right. So if Sid were going to bend on a plan, do you think Sid would bend at all, or he just would hang on to guaranteed plan?
I think he would try to hang on to the guaranteed plan as much as he could. He seems to be pretty stubborn and set.
All right. And if you were going to help decide a new plan, how much would you say guaranteed versus incentive?
I think that incentive can definitely help. I don't think it needs to be huge, like they were talking about. I think it was Miles was talking about 60% of the higher ups salary was based on company performance and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't think that it needs to be like that for the line employees and the teams that we're talking about here, but I think a percentage always helps, but not huge. I don't know if the 25% is, I think that might be a little too much even. I'm thinking like 15%.
Okay. Yeah, like honestly, like I haven't worked for a long time, but honestly, even like looking at my husband when he's looked at jobs, if I saw something that was 75% base pay and 25 flex, I would be like, let's keep looking for a job. Like money still talks to me, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm not in a position financially where I can take money off the table and work for the love of the job. I mean, if so, my husband would have, I don't know what job he'd have because he hasn't figured out what he loves yet. But I mean, he just hasn't been able to find happiness in a job, right? And so obviously we're not in a position where he can work for the love of work yet. So I feel like
Yeah.
the percentage is high because I don't feel like most people in the world are at a place where money doesn't talk anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is my personal opinion. I like the idea of having a big base pay. I mean, have your regular pay that you give to your employees, and then once a year, figure out how the company did for the year, and then do a gain sharing plan where there's a little kickback to the employees if they've reached a certain benchmark, and kind of divide that amongst the employees. And I feel like you could, they would be motivated just for the fact that they know that they're investing into the company, their hard work, and in return, they're going to get a little bit of extra Christmas money or whatever. But I agree with Cindy that I feel like there should be an established base pay that is not going to fluctuate, and they just know they're going to get. I feel like if you don't do that, that they're not going to be motivated to stay at the job.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I really like that plan. Just looking at the plan that I was talking about, I feel like that's like, what if your company is not doing that well? Like, how are you going to get your employees to be motivated if they know the company's not doing well? And if other people in the company aren't pulling their weight, like the people they're gonna be upset. And I just feel like it's hard to have your pay tied to how your company is doing. Because, what if it's a recession, or what if
Yeah.
your company's in a downtime and, your pay drops just because of that? Like, I don't think that's very fair, even though the employees are still working hard and doing their best.
Yeah, you're going to have definite morale problems with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that too. My husband actually works for a company where you have a base salary and then they set goals. And so say you meet 125% of your goals, you get like a certain percentage. Like, so each employee has a different percentage based on, I guess, their performance, and they get a certain percentage of how much the goal they meet. And I think that works good because, I mean, yeah, there are some people that just don't work as hard as others and some people that work way harder. And if their incentive pay was based on really what their performance was, that really, I think, helps. But the base salary stays the same.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because I think that brings in the intrinsic motivation, right? Because it sounds like the employees help set the goals, so you're kind of getting at what gets at their heart, right?
Yeah.
If you help set the goal, I know when I did work, I worked for a financial planner, and right before I had my first son, and he used to give me a bonus at the end of every year, or at the end of it was quarterly. It just depended. I'd get bonuses. Well, I was banking on saving my bonus for maternity leave because he was just a one-man show, right? He was a financial planner.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have maternity leave pay. So I was planning to bank that all of my bonus, and that was going to be my maternity leave. Well, he decided right at the time that I was in labor, basically, that he was going to split my bonus up in my paycheck so I'd keep getting paychecks instead of get my bonus.
Oh,
and I was
man.
mad because I was like, hey, I have already been banking on this for our maternity leave. Like, I wasn't planning on having it spread out over paychecks. Like, I had worked it out. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So, like, my intrinsic motivation and my goal was, like, squished by him being like, I'll spread your bonus out. I mean, I got it, right? But I got it over a 6-week period of time instead of just, like, at the end of the year when I was going to use it then.
Yeah.
And so I think the goals and having the employees involved in the goals is a really good plan because everyone, like Wendy, your husband, and you set different goals for what he feels like he can do or not do or whatever than like I would.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But his base pay is not on the line based on, like Alex was saying, a recession, or what if your company is just not in demand? Like, what if it's just not a product that
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, like we all need different things at different times, and so yeah.
Well,
I mean, the only thing we all need is healthcare, right? Food.
I also feel like as harsh as Bill's layoff plan was, that's still an option for the company. You know, if there's
Yeah.
employees that are not performing and meeting their expectations, then you have every right to get rid of them and try to get somebody in there that is going to pull their weight and help the company to be more profitable.
Yeah, I mean, and I think where he's calling it like a voluntary severance, where he's not saying just get rid of them, right?
No,
Mm-hmm.
He wants
but
to give
he
them
also,
some money, but he wants them gone. But I think there is a lot of kickback on old school thought, right?
yeah.
In all companies, in all everywhere. I mean, I just barely got a smartphone this year. I just barely got a tablet when I started school. I mean, I'm kind of an old school thinker. But even in Sunday school, I mean, like my daughter's 14 and she doesn't have a phone or an iPod or anything, and there's still a little bit of kickback on that
Mhm.
because she can't access conference talks and she can't. You know what I mean? And so old school is just hard to deal with. So it's not necessarily a bad idea that the people who don't want to change will choose to go. They won't set goals that will help them.
Yeah. The other thing I worry about with everything being tied to the team is the mediocre team players are being rewarded for being mediocre, you know? If we can tie it to personal performance, like yearly end of reviews, and that's when, you know, you have your goal at the beginning of the year, like Wendy was talking about. And then at the end of the year, okay, let's see how you did. And, you know, you met this, and that. I think if you can have the personal accountability, it makes a huge difference instead of just, yeah, I'm on a team. I think teams can be great, but there's also got to be some personal accountability.
Yeah. Well, because you get both, right? You get the mediocre ones, and they're making the people working a little upset. So then you've got a morale problem.
Yep.
Or you've got, you know, the one team like Ruth's team working really hard and should get a lot.
Yeah. And then the other mediocre teams who are pulling her team down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So yeah.
also, I mean, I think Ruth's whole attitude of, no, I worked this hard to get here. I don't need to help anybody else out. I mean, there should also be like a way of, I don't know, motivating people to help the other departments, because her department is doing so well. And if other departments could pick up what she has done, I mean, that could help the company as a whole.
Yeah.
So I think having like a company goal is a good idea, because then the company works together to meet that goal instead of the me is also good, because you need to have, but then there also needs to be like a company goal. So like two sets of goals that they could meet.
So what came to my mind as you said that is kind of like a guided goal, right? So there's like you have the company purpose with a goal, and then as they sit down and discuss their yearly goals, right? The HR person needs to know enough about Ruth and her personality and what's going on individually to help guide her goal. Like, hey, yeah, you're doing great, and this is your base pay, and yeah, you can get a bonus, but your bonus is going to be tied to the goal of you helping another team improve.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of like how this group is set up, you know. Each leader individually has an assignment to turn in each week, but we work collectively together for the doohickeys paper. So, you know, we obviously are looking out for our own grade whenever we're the group leader, but we're also looking out for the group as a whole when we put the doohickeys paper together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or it's like, and like this week is different because the last time I was discussion leader, it was pretty much my own thoughts. And this time, like I'm supposed to write an email to Sam Verde from Gilbert saying what we recommended, what we agreed on, or why we didn't agree and what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So like this discussion, yeah, it's like a pretty intense, like this discussion is like a big deal towards my grade this week, right? Like I I can't just go what I think because I have to like basically say what we agreed on or disagreed on.
Yeah. So like, you know, right now we're all working together for Cindy's grade, but next week, I forget who's group leader next week, we'll all be working together for that, you know, but then we're all compensated with doohickeys. So I'm pretty sure everybody appreciates it. Everyone comes prepared when they're the group leader.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think like so. Just what I'm looking at right now from the discussion we've had, I would say that I would give the recommendation to Sam Verde that we want a plan that has a base pay that's competitive with the industry,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would want gain sharing or bonus program tied to it at the end of the year, which is tied to goals, personal accountability, a company goal, maybe some guided goals. And everyone's percentage of that can be different depending on the goals that are set.
Yeah.
So I guess my biggest concern is what does that do with the team performance that their whole philosophy's been built around?
I think that team performance could still be there because it's not completely. I mean, we have that high base pay, but the team performance can still be a factor in it to get them to work together and to help one another, and even possibly help other people in the company, even though they might not like that. But I think that teamwork could still be there just because it won't be completely just, here's your base pay. This is all you get.
What about a separate team incentive that doesn't even have to do with pay? Just to encourage the teams to help each other out. Maybe some type of competition amongst each other, or hours in collaboration with other teams or something, and maybe they could earn an afternoon of bowling as a team, or something like that, instead of an increase in their pay. But it's still encouraging teamwork.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm wondering, so from last week when they talked about motivation, can't remember exactly how it was stated, but it was saying you pay your employees well, their base pay well, and that keeps them motivated, keep that base salary paying them well, and that will keep them motivated to work together. So I think if we can just I think if we start there with that basis, people will be motivated to work together as a team and to keep things going because they're happy. They're not having to worry about, take on a second job, just other stuff. They're happy with what they have.
Well, and I kind of like what Lisa was saying about some other incentive for the team. I wonder if that could even be like additional paid time off or comp time or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if it's not like the team going bowling or whatever, like, some of the reading talked about that one company, SAS, that can hang on to people because they have really family-friendly environment.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that team incentive thing could be built around some of those intrinsic kind of things, right? Like your team, it's like my husband works for Merit Medical, and so they're open like all the time because they're shipping out medical equipment. But I know they have like rotating holidays and floating holidays, and they do phase outs on some holidays where some departments get to leave earlier than others. So it could be a team thing where, they fade out. This team that helped another team can fade out the day before Thanksgiving at noon, or something like that, is more of an intrinsic motivator.
Yeah. Like my husband used to work at Micron, and Like the day before Christmas or the last day before Christmas break or the day before Thanksgiving, they were finding a lot of people chose not to come to work. And so the CEO started doing the, if you were there, on that day, he would release everybody at noon and they would get that without taking against their vacation pay. Whereas the people that had taken vacation, they just missed out. So, and it kind of became known, just don't ask for those days off because he's going to let you off early anyways.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. That's
People to come and work.
Yeah, because my husband will go in on Christmas Eve and he's like, yeah, I'm going in, but they're going to send us home between noon and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. and they almost always do. So it works out. Yeah.
Well, and another thing my husband's company does now that I found is a real motivator, the whole company shuts down the week of the 4th of July and then the week of Christmas. So they don't really have like vacation pay. They get this week at 4th of July, which is guaranteed, and the week at Christmas is guaranteed, and then they can just take time where they want. And their salary stays the same, and it's really quite interesting. I've seen my husband who never takes time off, but because he knows he has those 2 guaranteed times, he seems to be okay more with, okay, you're right. Let's go to Rexburg and go to a college thing. I'm fine not working that day. But then he comes back and he's a lot more productive because he took that time off.
Yeah, so I think maybe our plan should tie kind of the team incentives to maybe some time off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the whole team got to have the day before Thanksgiving off because they helped another team, I think that would be pretty motivating.
Oh, yeah. I think something else that might be motivating for the entire team is that FedEx day that they were talking about last week, where you have the chemists and the line workers, everybody on the team working together on one idea. You're going to get so many different perspectives on how it should work. And I think that would be a great idea for the path that our company's trying to go right now.
Now the scientists are getting happy. They get to play with their chemicals.
Right. Yay! We get
Sid scientists, they get to play with their chemicals for a day.
That's right.
All right. So if I were to recap the plan again, I would say we have base pay competitive with the industry. They have a bonus or gain sharing based on individual goals, personal accountability, maybe some company guided goals, and to keep going with the teamwork momentum we're working on, that team incentives would be built more around the things that they care about, like time off or FedEx days, 20% time to work on their own thing, something like that.
Yeah.
You guys all like this plan, or does anyone have anything they don't like or want to add?
I like it.
I like it too.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll call that our solution. We'll say we agree and that we're going to take it to Sam. You guys can all relax out of your top chem roles now. And honestly, I don't even think we need to do this whole 0 to 10, what did you like, what could we do better next time? Unless somebody has something they want to throw out. I think we get the same answers.
Yeah.
You're a pretty good actor.
Yeah, Sarah was like ready to go.
Yes.
Called on first and was just like, boom, defending your scientists. Nice job.
I was a little sluggish getting going from all the beers I had last night.
I was wondering about that, Lisa.
That dang hangover.
Yeah. Trying to help other teams out.
I know, trying to get this group thing going. Just trying to have a party all the time. I will ask the first question. It's what's the most important thing you learned from this case?
I think going over all 4 people who talked about different solutions, I think one of the biggest things, almost every one of them tapped on how the employees need to be involved in the plan. You know, before it was just Sam Verde, it seemed like he didn't really talk to the whole company, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because as soon as Sid jumped in, Ruth's like, "Hey, wait a minute," you know. And
Yeah.
they all wanted their employees to have a say.
Yeah.
I think the team loyalty. The team loyalty that we've seen in this case is pretty good. Like everyone was kind of loyal to their team. It wasn't necessarily their cause, except for maybe my guy, Bill. He's just gonna lay everyone off. But I mean, everyone else seemed to have, you know, kind of a team player. Like, I mean, my own personal opinion is I would not be like Bill. I would not up and just lay off people. I don't like hitting people. Like, I know my mom in previous years, she said to me, she's like, if you don't know who to vote for on those judges, just vote no. I'm like, I'm not like willing to like vote people out of a job just because I don't know, you know, like that's not really my personality to just be like, you're laid off, you're out. And I'm an old school thinker, so I'm not ready to get rid of all the old school people. Saturday night, my husband and I walked into Walmart. The greeter talked to us for 10 minutes. We walked away, and my husband's like, you really do attract old people. I'm like, I don't know, I'm sorry. So yeah,
Old people have wisdom. I love talking to old people.
I know. I keep telling him, I'm like, they're loyal friends, man. They won't lay you off. So I didn't really like his. I think he was the only one that wasn't really a team player, and I don't think he was like super popular, right? Like,
Yeah.
he only has a tiny little paragraph, right? And first it's, hey, we're all not going to go have beers with everyone, and second, we should just lay off people that aren't going to buy into the plan. And you can even tell where, like, Bill's like the very next sentence, okay, Bill, thanks. Like, end of discussion. So I think the teamwork factors. I think their philosophy is getting through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think that this is a good example of like what the Doohickeys company is missing. Because at that company, every man is out for themselves. The CEO decides who's hired, who's fired, how much money people make. And so I think that Doohickeys really could take some pointers on how to work together as a team and make the company come together.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, the plans at the end, they each had some really good points and ideas that could have worked well for different companies. But I think it's important to, like you said, meet together and discuss what's right for your company, and, you know, take a little bit of everything that is out there and come up with a plan that fits your company.
I like that.
I agree.
Because yeah, you could see, like, just reading those, it's like they all had their own opinion, and they all found like really good things. I mean, the one guy that didn't want to do anything, I felt like that was kind of a cop out, right? I mean, he's like, let's just let this go away by itself. That seemed kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
One thing I liked or learned is that it's important just to talk to your employees and talk to managers, talk to the people that, you know, make up your company. You know, they're not the CEO, they're not in that position, or CFO, whatever it may be, but they still have, you know, they can still have good ideas, things that you can think about. You might not take in all their ideas, but just to listen to what the people have to say and listen to where they're at and what they might see as a benefit to them and their family individually can definitely help. And also, like they did, looking at outside sources to help figure out what the best plan might be. I really like that, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I liked that at the end it had what other outside sources would do.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the cases were just left to wonder what they did, or you can like look it up on the internet or whatever. But it's kind of cool that this case they looked to outside sources and was like, what works for your company and what should. I that's kind of how I am though. It's like I take what works from different people. Like my friends, like you're kind of a gatherer. You just kind of gather different ideas and then figure out what works from gathering up those ideas. And I think that's kind of I think it works in this case in this company, like Alex was saying, is gather ideas from the employees and outside sources, and then come together and see. I mean, they would be more vested in the plan.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, that pretty much wraps up this discussion. So we probably should talk about doohickeys because I know the next one. For some reason, the next time doohickeys is due, there's 2 team leaders that week. It's
That's
like,
right.
and it's faster. It's like in 2 weeks. It's like this. So you only have like this week. It's week 11, so I guess it's still 3 ideas possibly. But there are 2 team leaders.
And I was gonna go in and create another doohickeys document. Did I ever do that?
For this week?
For the new,
Not
yeah,
yet.
for the new one. Okay,
Not yet.
I must have got sidetracked.
Did you guys like that? That there was one there and we added to it every week?
I think that helped me a lot.
Sorry, Sarah, what were you saying?
I said, I think that helped me a lot, you know, just
Oh.
add every so often when I could.
You liked that, Alex? Did that work for you, submitting it?
Yeah, it worked great. It was very
Wendy-
easy to submit.
Wendy, did it work for you?
Yeah, it did. It was nice to just be able to go in, put my, comments down.
Better than running the show?
Yes.
Okay, so week 11. So we have Sarah, you're the lead next week, week 10.
Yes.
And then we have Wendy and Lisa on week 11. So what would work best for the 2 of you for doohickeys?
For as far as like when to have discussion.
Well, probably a little bit of both, right? If we're going to do the same thing, then yeah, when do you want to have it put in? Obviously, only one of you will submit it, but I don't know why you have the intensity of needing 2 discussion leaders that week. Does that mean you both have an assignment, or do you have to work together on another assignment?
I haven't looked that far ahead, but it seems like it seems like I looked a long time ago and it was something about 2 different assignments. But I guess we can look and see.
So. That's the week of Thanksgiving, isn't it?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah. So discussion prep for both discussion leader and discussion leader assignment. Let's see.
Well, it has this debrief endnotes. I wonder if that's part of it because they don't normally have that.
Well, it says discussion leader only. Review the final contract you negotiated and check it for grammar, spelling. Write a memo or letter to the group. You got to
It looks like they
negotiate.
break up into 2 teams. We have 2 different teams that we discuss a strategy for getting our wage agreement, and then we negotiate it with each other, and then we come up with a final contract as a team. So I guess that's why there's 2, because we'll have 2 different discussions.
Okay. So we'd get divided into groups amongst ourselves and meet separately. Is that how that works?
Yeah. We meet separately for 5 minutes. We discuss our team strategy. Then we meet together with both teams for 20 minutes and negotiate a wage. And then we make that agreement. Then we, then we So the last 45 minutes is together as well, so
Okay.
we have to write up the final contract.
So the overall assignment that you submit's not much more than the page that all the other leaders have been submitting. It's just a little more intense getting to it.
Sounds like it, yeah.
So would only one of us submit to the discussion leader?
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, it looks like there's just one final contract as a team that we submit.
So, because maybe since only one has to submit that, one of us could submit that and one of us could submit the doohickeys.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to suggest too. That seems like a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm. So.
Do you have a preference? Who am I with? Am I with Wendy or Sarah?
Wendy.
You're with
Yeah.
Wendy.
Do you have a preference, Wendy? Which one you want to do?
No. Either is fine. I've submitted the doohickeys. It's not a big deal. So.
I don't really care either.
Yeah.
I guess unless one of your Thanksgiving plans factors into the other one. I mean, we'll meet on Wednesday, right? So that takes
Yeah.
care of the discussion leaders
Mm-hmm.
assignment.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of going to a family reunion from Thursday till Saturday. So,
Okay, so then I'll do doohickeys because I won't. I'll be home.
I didn't think about that till Cindy just said that, but yeah, I guess I'll be away out of town.
All right, so
Okay, that works.
Wendy's doohickeys and
Lisa's
No,
doohickeys.
Lisa doohickey and Wendy is the other one.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And so, Lisa, when do you want everyone's submissions in?
Probably Friday night's fine.
Okay.
Mhm.
We're not going to interrupt your shopping or anything.
My online shopping.
I try to
I
do,
don't know. My kids are like, we just want money this year, money and clothes. I'm like, that's easy.
That's nice.
you don't even have to worry
Well,
about
of course,
Friday.
my 9-year-old. Yeah, my little guy will still want toys, but it won't be nearly the shopping that I usually do. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, I've gone Friday shopping, but I haven't done it like crazy. I have to get this. It's like, let's just go for fun and see what's there. And
Yeah, try not to get trampled.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I live in Salt Lake Valley. I've never been trampled, but
That's good.
but yeah, like my oldest son wanted to go a couple of years ago. He's like, I want to see what all the hype's about. And my husband's like, why are you taking him? I'm like, because I'd rather me take him than him just go by himself. So let's go. And he was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like he's over it now.
One
Yeah.
time enough.
Yeah, he actually went both years, but the first year I made him stand in line for shoes for himself, and he was like,
The
like, yeah,
lines are
see, it's
so
not
long.
exciting.
The lines make it not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, Lisa, the online shopping's better.
Yeah. All right, so everyone submit ideas by Friday night, and then Lisa, you'll put a new doohickeys up for this week to contribute to this week.
Yeah, I just shared it with everyone, so you should be getting an email.
Okay.
And I'm just about to delete mailed stuff, but
So it starts with this one.
Yeah.
Motivation within. Okay.
It
I-
starts with this compensation. The motivation was last time, so we're on compensation and benefits. So we have to help doohickeys with that. Find a problem, and then 4 solutions.
Okay.
So my suggestion from like working with Alex, because we weren't sure what was going on with Elijah and stuff, is like if you find a link for an outside source, which we do need as outside sources, make sure you put what quote you intended to use, because a lot of the outside sources didn't get used last time
Yeah.
because nobody was going to go through and find what you were thinking was useful out of that link.
Yeah.
So make sure when you give us an outside source, you give us your quote that matters to you,
Yeah.
so that when like Lisa compiles it, she can put what matters to you,
Okay.
aside from just a link. Makes sense? Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyone have anything else before Sarah's in charge next week?
Yay, yep.
Everyone good for 10 next week?
Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't looked that far. Hang on one second. Yep, should be good.
Perfect.
Awesome. I will post this link for Elijah to see and teacher, I guess.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye.